I have a question for you. If you are a network marketer, how many companies have you joined? Me, two for the product, only the product. One to grow a team. Then recently, in the last, couple of years, I made two changes before coming back to the product line and that first original team I joined to grow. And that's where I plan to stay. How about you? I really am curious. So, would you comment on how many companies you've joined over your lifetime? Now, today's topic is related to that. When is it a good idea to change network marketing companies? But before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Connie Suarez. I'm a network marketing mentor who is passionate about helping you help your team cross stage. Let's get to the topic then. When is it a good idea for you to change companies? First of all, consider the company. Is it stable, or are there strategies that they want you to use that are not in alignment with who you are? The first part of that, is your company stable? If a company is struggling, they're not going to announce it from your next company event. So you may not even get a hint. But if there are things that make you wonder about the stability, then that would be a good reason to make a switch. Equally so is if they want you to do things that just aren't in alignment with who you are. And when I joined the company that I am with, it was back in 2010. Internet was still a new thing. Social media, I think some social media existed, but I certainly was unaware of social media at the time. And then when social media came first into my sphere of knowledge, I wasn't very open to it. So you know what the strategy was. It was make a list and call everybody on the list and keep adding to your list. I added to my list to the point where I actually had, to my surprise, 3,000 names, 3,000 plus names. And I had called those people. I think I called all of them. There were some on that list that I didn't call more than once, but I think I called them all. And many of them I called multiple times. And I hated it. I got fairly good at it. I grew a team, but it was never so in alignment with me that when I taught it to my team, I could be very good at convincing them that it was a good idea for them. It was not in alignment with who I was or who they were, because I recruited people that were very similar to me. So that was a really good reason. Or was it? We'll get back to that. The leadership. And this really is very similar to what I've already been talking about. Is your leadership a good fit for you? Do you have do they reach out and build relationships with you and your team? I think some people are better at that than others. And maybe there's a disconnect there. Or maybe they too are pushing strategies that aren't in alignment with who you are. And so that's another consideration when you're considering whether you want to leave your company or not. The next consideration that we should maybe be influenced by is whether the comp plan works for us or not. And I think that sometimes people might say their comp plan isn't working for them well because they haven't understood that with building a team and seeing the results from that, it takes time. Many of us enter into network marketing with an employee mindset, and an employee works for a week and then gets a paycheck. for that week's work. And it's a determined amount based on how many hours are worked. And it doesn't even matter whether you gave it your best or not. Of course, if you don't give it your best, you may not have a job for long, but the pay is based only on hours that you show up for work. Whereas with network marketing compensation plans, we are rewarded for how much product actually is sold, how many people we maybe have recruited, if there's compensation for somebody joining your company, and so you are rewarded for the results that you produce, and it takes time. And generally, the compensation plans are geared so that those that stick with it and keep building will see the results they want. But maybe it isn't working for you, and maybe there are a number of people that understand the comp plan and are telling you that it really isn't a good deal. That would be a reason to consider another company. The last one is, no, not the last, second to last one, are the products. You know, I stayed with my company as long as I did because of the products. And then I switched for a little while, as I already shared. But it was the products that brought me back. The products are really important. If you are not representing quality products, then it will be hard to keep going. And if you feel like the products are not a good fit for you and the people you want to help, even if they're quality products, if they really don't ring your bell, then that would be another reason to change. And finally, a reason, especially for those who have built a fairly large team, you will have companies recruiting you, new startups, maybe even people on an established team will try to recruit you to join their team. And that's flattering. It kind of feels good to have somebody want you, but is that a reason to switch? And probably while you're considering that, especially if this is a startup company that's recruiting you, how likely are they to achieve what they're planning to achieve? And you want to look back at your company. Is it stable? Is the leadership a good fit for you? Does the comp plan work for you? Are the products that you are proud to represent and maybe wanting to take? And if those things are all in place, maybe it's still a good idea to stay put. My cautions in considering a move: don't be in a hurry. If somebody makes an offer to you that you have to make a decision immediately, that's generally, in any kind of an offer, even those outside of network marketing, a good reason to say no. Get advice before you make a decision. You can talk to your upline, but they have a vested interest in you staying with them. You can talk with the new people, but they have a vested interest in you joining them. So try to find somebody who is unbiased but still favorable towards this industry, and let them be a sounding board for you. And that's what I'm offering today. Consider me as a resource for you today, if you're kind of in that place, or sometime down the line. If you are in a place where you are wanting to decide whether to stay with your company or not, message me and I'll be glad to be a sounding board for you. I benefited from that kind of a call several years back, and the person was actually promoting his service of helping writers. I was kind of looking at maybe going in that direction, and he offered to anyone that signed up 30-minute call with him to explore whether that was he was a good match for them or not. And in that call, he asked questions that helped him and me understand that I was still passionate about building a network marketing team. And he said, I think that's where you need to place your energy and your efforts. He was missing out on a sale, but he was more concerned about what was good for me, and I have not forgotten that. And and so I want to offer that to you today. If you're interested in doing that, message me and I'll get you a link to sign up a time where I can ask you a few questions and you can decide whether it would be a good idea to work with me to build your team where you're at, or work with me and join my team and build your team with me. Whatever you would decide, since my passion is to help you help your team cross stage, I will be happy with either of your choices. This is Connie Suarez. I'll be in touch.